going to do today's Pilates session starting standing up so that we can work a little bit on balance. There is a whole video that's specifically for balance if you want to practice things, but today we're actually going to put it into action. So bending, I'm on a creaky floorboard, I do apologise, it just loses my head a little bit, so I'm not creaking. Oh, oh, this is real life. Okay, so finding a space where your feet are roughly hip width apart. Your heel, ball of the big toe, ball of the little toe are all in contact with the floor and spreading the toes out. So we're going to start off just marching on the spot, but what we need to do is think about keeping these hips level. So if it helps, bring the hands onto the hips, draw the tummy muscles in, drop the shoulders back and down, and then just inhale, float the knee up, and exhale, float it back down. So notice what's happening with this balancing foot as you're doing this. It might wobble about a little bit, and that's just trying to find the right space so that you can float that knee up and still stay upright. Drop the tummy muscles in, squeeze into the backside, float the knee up, float the knee back down. So if inhaling up and down, exhaling down feels like the right thing, then that's what you do. Now we're going to change the centre of gravity, so we're going to hold that knee up and take it out to the side. Still have your hip bones pointing forward. So maybe your knee only goes to here before your hips start to turn. Keep the hips forward, so just move in that gate. It feels okay. And open and close the gate a few times. You might notice you feel the butt muscles work a little bit here as you're opening out and squeezing. If you start wobbling about, just do what you need to correct yourself, to bring yourself back up, and that might be bringing the toe down. If you can't stay balanced with the foot off the floor, then you tap in and out with your foot on the floor. Right, we're going to bring it to the centre and bring it down and switch sides. So we float the knee up. And then we start to open the gate, keeping those hip bones pointing forwards, just so that we're working into the hip joint rather than getting rotation into the spine just now. Open and close, tummy tight, butt tight. And then we bring it back to the centre and bring it down. So now that we've done that, we're going to float the knee up. We're then going to start to straighten the leg out with the toe pointed. Take the arms out in line with the shoulders, and then start to move the leg round to the side. And as you take the leg round to the side, start to reach the fingers away. So we're just taking that balance over. And then we're going to start to bring the leg round, and as you bring the leg round, you bring your chest round. Thinking about hips square to the floor, shoulders square. And only taking that back leg as high, so if your foot needs to be down, bring the foot down. If your foot can be higher, make sure the chest is a little bit lower. Tummy's in nice and tight. Bending the knee, bringing it up through the centre. Come through the centre if you can without touching the foot down. And then push the foot out, but this time pull the toes up. So you're pushing the sole of the foot out in front. Make sure you're still breathing here. Keep that foot flexed as we go round to the side. And again, reach the foot away, reach the hand away. If you feel a little bit wobbly, do what you need to correct yourself. Keep the foot flexed so the toes are pointing towards the floor and out behind. Bending the knee, bringing it back up and bringing the foot down. Roll the shoulders if they feel a little bit tight from that. Check in with the breathing. If you've been holding your breath a little bit, maybe you need to smooth the breath out. We're going to go to the other side, so arms back out in line with the shoulders, float the knee up. Keep the foot relaxed just now, straighten the leg out. Keep that leg straight as you go round to the side. Pointing the toes away, reaching the fingers away. Keeping the leg straight, start to move it behind, bringing the chest forward. Remember, try and keep the hips square. This side will feel might feel totally different, or might feel a bit the same. Don't judge it. Bend the knee, bring it up. Bring it out, flex the foot, sole of the foot pushing out. Bringing it round to the side. And then all the way round behind, toes are going to be pointing towards the floor this time. So you extend that leg out. Bending the knee. And placing the foot down, rolling off the shoulders. So from here, we're going to come down to the floor. It's something I always teach in class. is to try and come down to the floor without using our hands. So often you see people, or you might notice yourself, if somebody says come down to the floor, the first thing you do, you put your hands on the floor and then lower yourself down. What that does is it stops your butt and your legs from working. So what we do is we practice no hands, so either hands in the air, hands across the chest, and finding a way. So maybe you need to come down through your knee, totally fine. Or maybe you can come down in a deep squat and then let your butt come down. Maybe you cross your ankles and lower yourself down that way. So there's lots of different ways to come to the floor. You want to find the one that challenges you, but you can also control as you come down. So I'm going to meet you on the mat. Excuse me. So lying on your back, hands rested to the sides of the hips, feet and the knees hip out the bar. You're finding those 3 points in your feet: heel, big toe, lip toe, connect. We're going to do a couple of shoulder bridges just to see how the back feels to start. So start in that neutral position where your spine is in its natural curve, shoulders are backing down. We're bracing the tummy, trying to get that flattening and narrowing through the waist, lifting up through the pelvic floor. Lightly pressing the arms down into the mat, taking an inhale here as we exhale. Tummy muscles scoop in as we push the lower back into the floor. We then press the feet in, squeeze the backside as we roll ourselves all the way up. So just check how does the spine feel. Inhale at the top, exhale, gently roll yourself all the way back down. So if the spine feels a little bit sticky today, stick with this for a few more repetitions. Loosen off the back before you add anything extra in. When it starts to feel good and you feel like you're getting a smooth, controlled roll up, the next time we come up, we're going to hold it at the top and extend the leg away. And take it a couple inches out to the side. Bring it back into centre, bring the foot down. Do the same thing to the other side. Inhale, extend it out. Exhale, take a couple inches wide. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, bring it down. Once you've done that one time to each side, bring the hips back down. And then we're going to come back up and do it again. Extend the foot out. A couple of inches out to the side. Back in, back down. So use your breath to pace this. It doesn't matter if you're inhaling at a different point and exhaling at a different point. Just lets you slow the movement down if you can stay with the breath. We're going to do this 2 more times. So bringing the hips up. Keep these hips high. So use the arms if you need to. Press it into the floor. A couple inches out to the side. A couple inches in. Bring it down. Other side. You're really finding connection with the floor, with the points that are in contact with the floor. Pulling those tummy muscles in nice and tight. And then when you finish this last one, bringing it down, hug the knees into the chest just to get a release in the backside and in the lower back. And bringing the feet back down to reset the pelvis. Check in that the shoulders are still melted back and down. We're going to bring the knees up into tabletop. So remember your option, if this is working your back more than your tummy muscles, you keep your feet onto the floor. Our hands are going to come up so the fingertips are pointing towards the ceiling. So still walk the shoulders back and underneath the rib cage. Inhale, right hand, left leg, extend away. Exhale, squeeze it back in to the other side. Inhale out. We're going to do this 2 times to each side. So I like to keep my toes pulled back and push through the sole of the foot so that I'm getting more of the back of the leg working here. And then we're going to do both arms, both legs together. So inhale out, exhale in. Now if you feel your back lift off the floor, straighten the legs up towards the ceiling rather than taking them out low. Inhale out, exhale in. So you do that 2 times. And then back to the first opposite arm and leg. Inhaling out, exhaling in, inhaling out, exhaling in, 2 times, and then both arms, both legs together. Then we're going to point the toes, we're slightly changing it, 2 times to each side, toes are pointed, inhale out, exhale in, inhale out, exhale in. Let's really scoop those lower tummy muscles in, and then we're going to go both arms, both legs together. So you might notice a slight difference with the toes pointed and when the toes were flexed. We're going to do one more round, toes pointed, inhale out, exhale in, 2 to each side, both arms, both legs, 2 times, and then rest it down. So come into any rest position that feels good. Bring the feet down onto the floor. We're going to lengthen one leg out so that the toes are pointed up towards the ceiling, almost like you're standing that foot down. The other foot, the knee is bent, foot's pressing into the floor, your hands coming overhead with the fingertips pointed down the way so that you can see the elbows out the corner of your eyes. Your tummy muscles are really scooped in here. On an inhale, you're bringing this extended leg up, and on the exhale, you're slowly controlling it back down. Inhale up, and exhale it down. So tummy stays tight, butt stays tight. And then we're going to do another 4. Your option is to keep doing this as we are, or bring the hips up, inhale up, exhale down. If you're taking the hips up, you keep them high throughout the movement. Last one. If the hips are up, bring the hips down, bend that leg, straighten the other leg out. Toes pointed up. So first 4 are with the hips down, second 4 option to have the hips up if you want. So really use the lower tummy muscles here, squeeze, 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 and the butt nice and tight as you're coming back down. Pelvis is staying really steady here, so you can always use one of the hands on the pelvis just to be sure you're not getting any movement there. Inhale up, exhale down. Now you've got that option if you wish to bring the hips up, inhaling up, and exhaling down. If the hips are up, squeeze the butt, pull the tummy in, keep it nice and high. Last one. If the hips are up, bring it down and into any rest position that feels good. So we are going to take this over onto our hands and knees, so I will meet you over in kneeling tabletop. So when you come into kneeling tabletop, knees are underneath the hips, wrists are underneath the shoulders. Now your elbows are tucked in. I'm going to just turn around a second. Your elbows not out here, they're also not in here, they're somewhere in between. So we're lightly tucking in. That will also help you engage into the triceps a little bit. Tailbone slightly tucked under here, so not so much that we're arched up, but we don't want it sticking out. We want the back a little bit flatter so that if we had a tray of marbles on there, the marbles are not going to fall off. We then draw the tummy muscles in to help stabilise this lower part of the spine. With the toes pointed away, if you can press the tops of the feet into the floor, that helps take a little bit of the weight out of the shins and out of the knees. Fingers are out nice and wide so that you can press the fingertips down into the floor. If you still get sore wrists, you have the option to come over onto the knuckles, and that will also help straighten out the wrists. It will bring you a little bit higher in the position, also just be aware of that. So tummy muscles are drawn in, your eyes are looking about a foot in front of the fingertips, so we're not looking down to the knees, but we're not looking ahead at the horizon. On an inhale, right hand, left leg, the lift up. On the exhale, bring it back down. To the other side. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, bringing it down. So we want to keep this back as steady as we can as we're doing this. The next time we come up, we're going to add a crunch in. So we inhale up, exhale, crunch the knee and elbow in. Extend it back out, bring the knee and the hand back down. Same thing to the other side. Inhale it out, exhale in, inhale it out, exhale back to start. Do that again. Inhale out, exhale, crunch in. Inhale out, exhale back to the start. Again on this side, inhale out, exhale, crunch in. Inhale out, exhale, hands and knee down. So we're adding another little bit on. Inhale out, exhale, crunch in. Inhale out, then you're going to reach the hands up and over to reach you back towards that foot. So lifting the heel towards your backside, straightening it back out and back to the start. So inhale up, exhale, crunch it in. Inhale out, exhale, lift it up and over. Inhale back, exhale back to the start. So we're going to do that one more time to each side. Inhale out, exhale, crunch in. Inhale, extend out, exhale, lift it up and over. Inhale, exhale, back to the start. Last time. Inhale out, exhale, crunch it in. Inhale out, exhale, lift it up and over. Inhale, exhale, back to the start. Take the knees wide, toes together, backside into the heels, just to release the lower back. Give it a little rock from side to side. Take a couple of deep breaths in and out. And then we're going to use that kneeling tabletop position to set us up to step out into plank. So bring the hands back underneath the shoulders, elbows slightly tucked in, so that the arm is straight. That's what we're looking for here. Shoulders are back and down away, so that we're opening up the neck. A tailbone is slightly tucked in. The knees are under the hips to start with. So we want to slide one leg straight out behind, so the pelvis doesn't move here, it doesn't lift, it doesn't drop, the waist doesn't drop, everything stays in tight. You tuck the toes under and we push the heels away. Now if you're new to plank, or you've got an injury, or you're just not feeling super strong today for whatever reason, this could be enough. Being here, bracing through the abs. Only if it feels okay do we bring the other leg out to join us. So the pelvis has not moved, we haven't lifted, we haven't lowered, it stayed exactly in that kneeling tabletop. So the best way to check it is just bend the knees, and your knees should come directly back underneath your hips. Slide the leg out, push the heel away, other leg joins it. Scoop the tummy muscles up and in, big deep breaths in and out, bring the knee down, bring the knee down. So we're not holding it for very long, but we're looking to brace as much as we can to build intensity. So we're going to do that 2 more times, and what I want you to do is to hold it yourself for 3 to 5 breaths, whatever feels right for you. So if it's a real struggle, 3 breaths is plenty. If it feels super easy at 5 breaths, think about how you can squeeze things in a little bit tighter and make more connection from the soles of the feet to the top of the head. Really think about creating a long, lean body. So hands under, shoulders back, tailbone tucked under, tummy muscles are drawn in. Step the foot out, brace, step the other foot out, big deep breaths in and out. Each exhale, pull the tummy in tight as you can. And when you're done, bring it down. Give yourself any rest that you need. And then we're going to do that one last time before we finish. So setting yourself up. Give the body any movements it needs before you lock yourself in. So shoulders are back and down. Bracing into your plank. Lifting the pelvic floor, squeezing the backside, squeezing the thighs, pulling the tummy muscles up and in. Keeping that breath nice and smooth. When you get to your last breath, you can either come down onto the knees or push up into a bit of a down dog stretch just to lengthen through the spine, soften the knees. Bring the knees down, take them wide, lift up the toes, sit the backside into the heels. Give the body any movement that it feels good. And then just making your way back up to a seated position. So you can do any of those exercises as often as you enjoy them. You can do that little sequence a couple of times back to back if you've got the time, or if you want to just pause it and do more repetitions as you go through whatever it is that works for you. And I will see you on the next video.